Hello, my name is Dr. Robert Priebe. I am the creator of the Parks vlog entitled Parks Are Like Icebergs, where I share 30 plus years of parks planning practitioner experience, along with my recently completed studies in parkland decision making in the Edmonton region in Edmonton from 1960 to 2010 using institutional theory. So each vlog, and I think I'm over 20 now, each vlog focuses on a specific contemporary park issue or a historical park issue, or this particular one is talking about what some consider to be a new planning concept called 15-minute city. The 15-minute city it has been described in a journal article in Smart Cities journal, an article entitled Urban Planning in the 15-Minute City Revisited Under Sustainable and Smart City Developments Until 2030. Two ladies wrote this article. I won't try to say their name because I don't want to offend them, and when I butcher their names, I apologize in advance if I did. But they've created a journal article that basically fleshes out what this whole 15-minute city concept means, and there's 8 different parameters of it in the document below. You will see that I've for each one of those 8 different areas, I have reflected on how they apply to the parks business. And I won't go into huge amounts of detail in the verbal description because all the written stuff is down below. However, I will say that urban park systems provide a really good frame, the bones of a sustainable 15-minute city. In Edmonton in particular, we have, in existing already developed neighborhoods, we have parks in every neighborhood, I think with the exception of one. And that was just a quirk, just the way the landscapes came forward from the developer. But we have parks in every single neighborhood existing that are all built out. And in other areas of the city that aren't built out, we have area plans in place that they've now reshuffled and call them district plans, district plans. We have parks in every single one of those neighborhoods as well. So we have the real good bones for a 15-minute city. With that said, I think there are a few things we need to think about with respect to this concept. And first of all, the whole concept I would characterize as a developmentalist concept. So in other words, it promotes and encourages, facilitates development. So if you've got areas of the city that are already developed and now city plans coming in and saying in those mature areas of the city, we need another 600,000 people. Edmonton is an area, it has about 1 million people within the city limits today. The city plan based using the 15-minute city districts concept suggests doubling that to 2 million. 600,000 of that additional population growth will happen in existing urban areas. There isn't a land base that accommodates that many people that's undeveloped, waiting for development. There's commercial, industrial, roadways, utilities, you name it. There's all those different landscapes out there. There's parks, schools. So we have to get 600,000 more people into that neighborhood. So, and it's proposing, and so the upshot of it all is basically city plan is proposing significant redevelopment of existing areas. It doesn't necessarily have to be bad, but it will certainly be more multi-use and more mixed-use development. But the land for it has to come from somewhere. That gets to the second part of the governance part. How does that actually happen? And I think this is where I kind of differ with respect to the concept. So the concept of 15-minute city talks about an engaged citizenry that help craft and change the communities. And I agree with that fundamentally. Communities need to be intimately engaged in the redevelopment of their communities, no question. What I don't see in the 15-minute city model is how is that actually operationalized? It's fine to say we're going to have civic engagement, but what kind of civic engagement? When? Who has power and agency? Who has no power? Because development in any city today in North America, there are people with power, and those are typically landowners, and there are people without power. And they can influence decision making and have influenced decision making quite a bit in parks. But there's that ongoing tension between how you change an existing area between people with different levels of power and agency. So that's the biggest thing we need to think about. And it goes back to my whole concept about that I've written about when it talks to parks. When we plan our park systems, we have a sense of how that's going to roll out. Who's going to do what, when, with what money, and how. Who's going to program the site? Who's going to maintain the site? Who's going to build it? Who's going to construct it? The 15-minute city concept is a planning document, so it doesn't go to that level of detail. And that's where I may differ a little bit with my enthusiasm for the 15-minute city concept, because what I've seen in recent years in Edmonton is they've decided that basically that means they're going to develop a bunch of public land and put housing on it. That's as lack of innovative as they've gotten so far. And I think it needs to be far more innovative than that. but I haven't seen, so how they're operationalizing the concepts are not clear, and the early returns from my perspective are not very good. So I will leave that with you. The last thing I just want to mention is the 15-minute city concept has garnered a lot of negative attention in recent times. Even in Edmonton, people show up to meetings waving flags. Oh, I'm losing my ability to decide things and live the life the way I want to, and all that kind of stuff. Typically, some of that is just social media misinformation. Who knew that would happen in Canada? But it's also, I think, fundamentally about how the decision to make a 15-minute neighborhood is operationalized. So, for example, some think they're going to fence neighborhoods. You won't be able to go in and out, which is not going to happen. Some suggest there'll be lockdowns of neighborhood, which is not going to happen. But the most important thing is what they're really talking about is how you operationalize a 15-minute city concept. And thus far, time will tell. The municipal development plan and city plan in Edmonton was approved in 2021, so it's 2 years in. We'll see where it goes. But if we're going to do it well, we have to operationalize the concept well, and we have to do that with an intimate engaging processes with the community, open, transparent processes. Not sure I've seen that yet, but I'm hopeful that I will be proven wrong. But I do think the concept is a good one. We have the bones of a good park system to do that. And let's push our elected leaders and our administrators to engage us in whatever decisions we all collectively think make sense. Thank you. In our neighborhoods. Thank you.